Live from the KXLY News Center in downtown Spokane. Good Morning Northwest, working for you.
Now on Good Morning Northwest, a domestic violence call ends with a deputy shot and a suspect dead. And it wasn't the blowout fans expected, but the Zags are moving on. We'll have all the highlights and reaction from the WCC semifinals in Vegas. Good Morning Northwest, I'm Caiti Curry. It's Tuesday, March 7th. We begin this morning with breaking news. A sheriff's deputy is preparing for surgery. He was shot in the shoulder during a late-night standoff in Culver. Deputies initially were responding to a domestic violence call when the suspect barricaded himself inside the home. The situation escalated into a SWAT standoff and eventually resulted in an exchange of gunfire. The suspect is now dead, and the deputy is at Sacred Heart being treated for his injuries.
This is a SIR team investigation, which means that WSP and SPD will be investigating. I'm not sure who's going to be lead yet on that. So again, this is a SIR team investigation.
Deputies say this man is known to them. They have not released his name or the deputy that was shot. We do know the injured deputy is a sergeant with 30 years working for the sheriff's office. He is also the head of the SWAT team. The White House has revealed the new revised travel ban executive order, and this time travelers have 10 days to prepare for it. It replaces the January ban, which went into effect with little warning, leading to confusion and protests. The new order temporarily bans residents from 6 Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S. Iraq was left off the new list. It issues a blanket suspension of all refugees for 4 months, no longer singling out Syrian refugees. And it no longer makes exceptions for religious minorities, one of the major concerns from the courts on the original ban. The new order does not impact anyone who currently has a valid visa. Washington State's Attorney General is responding to the new order, as Washington was the first state to sue over the travel ban. And while Bob Ferguson says the revised order has fixed some of the issues associated with the first one, it doesn't mean his office won't challenge it.
Still want to make sure that we're doing our homework on determining what harm exists with the new executive order, and then we'll decide what makes the most sense moving forward. And I anticipate making that decision here sometime this week.
We'll keep you updated on any decision out of Olympia. Be sure to follow KXLY4 News on social media for the very latest developments. Well, Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich is now defending comments made over the weekend at a pro-Trump rally that caused a firestorm online. Knezovich spoke for law enforcement, saying he hopes our new president protects our police because he believes our former president didn't. Yesterday, Sheriff Knezovich further explained his comments to KXLY, saying he'd hope President Obama would unite the country after last year's attacks on police officers, when 5 officers were shot and killed in Dallas and 3 more in Baton Rouge. But he believes the former president failed. Sheriff Knezovich says it made 3 deputies turn in their badges.
I looked in their eyes, and some of them were in tears because they loved what they did. But their families couldn't handle it anymore.
Knezovich says while it's too early to tell how President Trump will handle these type of attacks, he hopes the new president will be even-handed across the board. The sheriff promised if Trump misses his chance to heal the nation, he will speak out against him as well. The former president of the Spokane Police Guild is being suspended for 4 weeks without pay for tipping off a fellow officer about information in a 2015 rape case. Police Chief Meidel says Gately is not being fired because of his 30 years of experience and because the department's commanders were partly responsible for involving Gately in the rape investigation. A Coeur d'Alene man is accused of raping 2 women in the same day. 20-year-old Steve Brana turned himself into police Saturday morning. The alleged rapes happened in the early morning hours of March 2nd. Based on the details of the crimes, the judge says Brana is a threat to the public and set his bond at $220,000. A Spokane man is desperately searching for his dog. The Australian Shepherd jumped into the Spokane River on Friday. The dog's owner had just taken Booze, his Australian healer, off leash so he could walk around Inspiration Point near the Howard Street Bridge. It appears Booze jumped over a rock wall that lines the point, not knowing about the 12-foot plunge into the river. Dustin Johnson then took off on a terrifying run, trying to keep up with the dog as he was swept downstream.
I followed him from where he went in to down the falls along this riverbank. I watched him go down these rapids, and once he went underneath that bridge there, is where I lost sight of him for the last time.
Well, Johnson is hoping Booz survived the fall and made it to the shoreline in the Peaceful Valley area. Somebody may have found him, but he doesn't have a name tag on his green and brown collar. Booz is brown and white, about 55 pounds, and is a good swimmer. An Oklahoma girl became the youngest contestant to ever qualify for Scripps National Spelling Bee. Her age, just 5 years old. Edith Fuller earned the spot by beating more than 50 children on Saturday at a regional competition. She's now advancing to the national competition in May. The word that won is Jnana. It's a Hindu term meaning knowledge. But when asked how she felt about winning the competition, the word Edith picked to describe her feeling was simple: thankful. Well, good morning, Northwest. Your time is now 9:30. Still ahead, a Spokane man watches helplessly as his dog tumbles into the river. Coming up, the search for his beloved pet and why he's not giving up hope. And the word that a 5-year-old spelling champ used to describe her record-setting performance when Good Morning Northwest continues.